Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me in another one of my painting videos. If you are new to this channel, then you will find that all the miniatures and stuff that I'll be kind of focusing on will be Whiz Kids, and I do have a couple of Reaper bones here and there. Pretty much anything that catches my eye, and dropping any titles that I do have a great interest in would be Steamforge games, or Steamforge's Epic Encounters in particular. I have picked up a couple of Dungeons and Lasers items. Very excited for that, and you will see why in future videos. WizKids, as I said before, and another thing that I want to incorporate into my videos, as for minis, is Skyrim's Call to Arms. Those look awesome, and I can't help myself but incorporate anything that visually is appealing. And you may have the same interest as well. Now, as you can see before you, today's video will be based around Eberron, as this stunning piece of art before you. It captures the background of Sharn with a Warforge. Alright. I am going to have these videos also released in a way where it doesn't spoil anything for my campaign as well, because, well, let's get to it. I got a Skycoach, yeah. Now I can't wait to drop this on the table, but before we do that, we're gonna paint it. So first things first, here is this is the art that you'll find on the back of the box. I kind of cut it out so you can kind of get a look at it. So what you get in the box is the Skycoach, a gangplank, hopefully I don't say anything wrong, ladder, a Soarsled, 4 of them to be exact, and 12 Soarsled extension pegs. So here is the Soarsled. Very cool. Translucent, so you can paint it that wicked green that you've seen on the back there. Very cool. Now it is obviously your choice. I have seen people paint it blue. Very cool as well. I like to stick with a blend between what I find visually appealing and also something that I don't know, kind of stick with the books in some way. Here, as an example, I can kind of show you guys one because I have shown it to the table. This wicked beholder. It isn't completely done on the base, but nonetheless, it is beautiful. It was a lot of fun throwing this on the table. When you do get this thing, it comes with extensions of eye stalks. Let's see, here's one. Each piece has its own unique placement. And watch me put it in the wrong one. Here we go. As an example. Now I haven't finished painting that one, as you can see. But let's look at other ones with... Oh, I apologize for how long was it taking. I'm lost. Where is it? I didn't paint it or fill it. There you are. What have I done? There we go. Beautiful. There's other different types of eye stalks. There's one with fire, lasers, etc. I'll let you guys see that later on. So now you get the base and the stand for it, and it slides on like so. Shush. We'll put it all together after. But for now, we're going to focus on the sleds. I tried experimenting with an airbrush. I like to focus more on brushes myself, but some things do have a nicer look to it, like the ombre effect. That is perfect when you're using an airbrush. When you get this set, you also get, will be the deck that you'll be on. But the one thing, not to be picky or anything, because you know, it's slightly a review as well, is that you can't really pick it up. I won't really try to do that, but it is cardboard. So there you go. You do have to be careful. There's a bit of like fraying and separation from here, and that was just from taking it out. So I'm gonna get this done, put the coating on it, put it in, and don't mess with it after. That's it. But yeah, it comes with two different sides, one with the spaces or spacing, and one without. I'm just gonna do it this way. Kind of like it that way anyway. So, all right. Also, experimenting with colors. I wasn't really satisfied. Oh, look at that. Wicked. There we go. Apologies for that. One of the pieces fell and I tried to save it. Alright, so I am just going to switch to the next part. Yeah, just experimenting with paints and stuff like that. But alright. Just gonna correct some things and we'll move on to painting this, yes, with only two different paints. This thing here, or this here, Citadel's Color Technical Tesseract Glow. Don't shake it up, leave it like this. I'll show you why in a second. Alright, I'm gonna take a closer look. So, here is the Soarsled. Now, I have already painted a couple of them just to make this a little bit quicker. So, the first thing you do is you want to get this paint here if you want the look that I'm making. Don't shake this up. You don't want too much of the, or you don't want the pigment affecting the color, because we want to start off with a bit of yellow just to give it that trail of energy, because in the end it'll look like that. When you look through it with a different light, it is kind of see-through. I would like to have a bit more of a green look straight to the crystals or the main rock itself, but it gives off a nice enough effect. So what I've done is I used a bit of this Weight Watchers green. Unfortunately, this glaze is discontinued, and that is also why you see such a small bit in there. I've been nursing it. Or I guess that's not don't know if that's an appropriate term or anything. Apologies for that. I have been using this very sparingly. There you go, that's better. Maybe I'll just edit that out if I can, but I actually don't have a computer to edit any of this. But if you don't get the product, or the product, Jesus, if I don't put that stuff out here, there at all, or if you don't put your foot in the door, you're never gonna get move forward. Don't need to try and make some kind of quotes or anything like that. Alright, so enough looking at this. I am going to take this, and you don't actually have to like water it down or anything. Just to use the, you just want to dip a little bit of the yellow. Doesn't need to be any fancy brush. Just got this thing from the dollar store. I got a wet palette, but we'll get into that later. Alright. Now we are just going to focus. Get that out of the way. That's also how. That's also why there isn't as much green in there. But alright, so it's very translucent. It's a very nice effect. Just get a good coating across both the top and the bottom. And I'll give you that nice yellow effect, like a trail of energy dissipating from the crystals or from the rocks. So, the theme that my campaign is taking place in, you've guessed it, Eberron. I do have some influences from other different sources. Don't know if you guys have heard of it or not, but Critical Role. I know that it's kind of a back and forth between certain people liking it, appreciating it, and some people just whatever. But I'm not getting into it because I appreciate both. Forgotten Realms, Forgotten Realms, Eberron, etc. But the very first book I actually ever bought was a Critical Role book, and yes, it was the campaign setting to tell Dory. Little did I know how popular that book how popular that book is, and especially now that the company's discontinued, a lot of people are selling it for such an insane price. It's like, too bad I didn't grab two. Although I've never been one to really try to do that, upscale an item. But anyways, that being said, actually, at one point I wish to sell some of the minis that I'm painting. Obviously I'm going to use them in my campaign as well, but I don't know. It's a passion that I have, and it's nice, especially during stressful times. I originally wanted to release all these videos back in during the unfortunate pandemic, as everyone was actually starting to really release quite a bit of videos, but I don't know, I'm a very quiet person, so this is also a nice way to express myself and my interests with fellow people that like the same thing. So that being said, these videos are just going to be me enjoying a hobby that I like, sharing my passions, and sharing some skills that I pick up along the way, and willing to learn from any kind of advice, friendly constructive criticism, because if you can't take constructive criticism, well, that is, you just don't have, or it's just a way to grow. That being said, don't take everyone's opinion serious, because what's that saying? Opinions are like butts. Everyone's got one. Saying it more friendly, of course. Alright, so I think there's probably enough yellow on here. The bubbling kind of don't want to have. It's from me just going over and over and over. Apologize if my focus is going off. It's first time I actually, or this is going to be one of my first newer videos. But why not start off big with Skycoach? There will be future videos that are themed around Eberron, but I don't know. I've already introduced one of the Epic Encounters bundles into my campaign. There we go. Put that there. So, it's got a good coat. We're going to let it dry and probably put a little bit more yellow in there just so but we don't want too much. It does look like it's pretty good. Alright, so we'll move on to the ones that are this one that's dry. Alright, so I'm just going to use just a tiny bit. And leave in the comments if you guys know if there's any other kind of substitute for this item, because I don't know. The second I picked it up, I loved it. Did all the work for you. It did all the work for you, but you did have to use quite a bit, and I just don't want to. For the most part, I did put it in the crevices of the last miniature, and I used the pigment of the paint right there, which I think I'm going to do again because, I don't know, it's clearly need quite a bit, and it also is very translucent, which is very good for that effect if you're looking for it, but we're looking for the green to be a little more visible than that, so. Alright. See, we're always still learning things. Alright, shaking it. That does have quite a bit of yellow on there, so that's good enough. As you can see, it's already doing its job. Oh yeah, I want to also try to be involved with the viewers, of course. So, with that, I have a question. If you, and you can make it, there, you can have two answers, both good and bad. If you were to have a wand, like a wizard wand, what would it be made out of? I myself, I know it sounds evil on both sides, but we'll start with a good one. I would probably have a wand made of jade and the handle wrapped with the silk of a spider web. And I know that sounds evil, but as for the evil one, so this will actually really sound evil. I apologize for unicorn lovers, but really evil is having the horn of a unicorn carved into a wand. Now, how could that not be the most evil thing that a villain could do? So those are my two answers. Definitely looking forward to your guys' answers. So, I am new at being a DM. I have only done it a couple times now. And the party I'm with is very patient and fun. I'm very lucky that I got to be introduced into D&D with the group that I have. I unfortunately, in my earlier years, I was more into video games, and I thought, why would I want to just be paper and pencil? Sounds so boring. But that's just a gamer nerd / hermit would say. But eventually I was invited to a D&D session, and there's miniatures and the enthusiasm and just how everyone was just being themselves but expressing themselves even freely. It was really cool. A lot of fun. And then from that point forward, I went and bought myself a miniature. And I was like, well, I'm into art, I'm into painting and drawing, so I'm going to paint this mini. I went and bought a paint kit, and, well, kept getting more and more. You all know how it is. And I also thought, no, I've always wanted to kind of like share the art that I've made, both drawings and so forth, and I love the idea of storytelling. I really wanted to, I still do want to make a comic book and other various things. But I not the quickest learner when it comes to certain things. So I ended up finding it difficult to focus on all the things required, or not required, but all the things needed to bring a comic book together. And plus life, which you all know that story. Okay, so it's not really picking up as much green as I want yet, so I'm just going to have to keep applying coat. I'm going to shake this up a bit more, though, just to get that green pigment out. 20 minutes. Jeez. Alright. I'm going to pause it and let you guys see it after the green is applied. Well, after I've applied it to two of them, then I'll save it for last. Alright, so we got one just getting there. So what I'm pretty much going to be doing to make it look like the other one is just continuing to apply now that I've mixed the green pigment, and then finish with this. just to give it an extra green look to it in the light. But for now, we're just going to let that one dry and move on to the next one. Just coating it completely. And then now that it has the green pigment into it, you want to just blend it a little bit along the tail of this so that it gives it that look like it's dissipating. Alright, now for the last one, the one that we started painting, the yellow, and just give it that quick coat. And I know that many of you are probably like, who have painted before, are like, geez, painting it aggressively, making those bubbles. And I do apologize for, or not apologize, don't apologize. I do intend to work on techniques and get better. Just want to try to make this quick. Also, a quick note, make sure that you brush all the miniatures because, or use a little bit of warm water, and you can look on the internet for the right kind of solution for, like, if you're using soap, but make sure you clean it because when making these molds, they put a solution on it to prevent the cast or the mold from sticking to the metal when releasing it, and or whatever material they use, and it doesn't like holding the paint, as you can tell. It's pooling extra, and I know that if you guys are watching, I'm trying to take the pooling and spreading that out and trying to give it that color, but it really doesn't want to blend with the plastic. But the more I continue to do this, it'll eventually coat it. I had cleaned it, but looks like there's still some of that left. I can spread some of it down the tail. And then we'll do a coat of the Weight Watchers to give it that green effect. Some of the pooling in there isn't terrible to really bring out each crevice, but not with this color. You're going to be using a glossy cover in the end to give it that like glowing kind of look to it. I apologize. Stop apologizing for the blurriness and not clean that up. This is one of my first videos, which I've probably already said. Okay. We're already gone 23 minutes, jeez. I'm going to show you guys the end after the stuff is all dried, and then we'll continue the rest of the Skycoach in another video. Okay, so I'm on the last one. Now, what I've done is, unfortunately this is the last bottle, but I have to use a decent amount on it anyways. So what I'm doing is I am letting it pool into the crevices with a decent amount, and I go around the rock, letting it just fill as I pull it up towards the top. Now, it's probably not the proper technique to do it, but what I'm doing is I'm just coating it again and again. Don't do it aggressively like I did before. It'll just bubble. But I'm just pulling it all back up, coating it with that nice green effect. Get a little bit of it going down along here, so it's not just yellow. And once you've done that, you can always just flip it around real quick, pooling will start to go back down to the bottom. Just get a bit of that. And continue to do that until you feel like there's a nice, good coating of green. Need a little more for the top. So it's kind of like what angle you're looking on is going to give you that green effect. Probably going to do one more coat of this once it dries, just to make it really hold on to it. It just keeps moving around. Sorry about that. Gotta have one of those acting X's on the ground, or on this, remembering this is exactly where the camera is focused, so I don't mess that up. So yeah, it's more green in the shade than the tail, or in the center than the tail. Alright, so started off with see-through one, couple yellow tails, and now they all look like that, which I hope looks accurate to the picture. Yeah. Alright. I'll leave it at that and continue with the actual ship in a later video, and I plan to cut it apart, or cut the videos a bit so that it isn't so time consuming as a half-hour painting. Technically 1.5 or a few little pieces here, but it's more of an introduction than anything. And alright, looking forward to seeing the comments, and yeah, I hope you guys like the video, and we'll explore further into Eberron as the campaign progresses. But here's a quick little peek at another project I'm wanting to paint. Alright, you guys take care. Everybody take care. Alright, see you.